we're going to look at rational equations. So an equation that has fractions and variables all over the place. So there's a couple ways to start these problems. I could change each individual fraction so they all have a common denominator, but that kind of leads us down to a really ugly fraction path, giving us room for a lot of mistakes. So instead, we could find something called the least common denominator, something that all of our denominators go into. So what I'm going to do is group my whole problem, the whole thing, put parentheses around, and then I want to figure out. I'll start here. I want these all to cancel out eventually. So if I have something on the bottom, I need that same thing up top. So if I want this 5x to cancel on the bottom, I need a fraction where I have 5x on the top. So then I could just cross them out. If I use that 5x, will part of this cancel out with that x? Yeah, because I have an x up top, x on bottom, they cancel. So what I'm going to do, what we just found was the least common denominator right here. And I think it might make a little more sense once we get there. So let's now take that 5x and distribute it to everything we see here. So I'm going to distribute it to this fraction, and I'm going to get 5x times x plus 3 all over x minus, I'm going to distribute it to that 6 and get 5x times 6 all over 5x equals, distribute there, you're just going to get 5x over the x. Now, once I do that, yeah, I could multiply these together. I could multiply them together, but I don't want to because things are going to cancel for us. That x disappears with that. This 5x disappears with that 5x. That x disappears with that. So we just kind of set up a problem to cancel all the denominators out. Now let's take that 5 and distribute and combine what we can combine and see where we lead. So let's say 5 times x, 5 times 3, giving us 5x plus 15 minus, the only thing I have here is 6, equals, the only thing I have left over here is 5. Now we just gave ourselves a fairly simple equation to solve. So let's combine and get x alone. So 15 minus 6 gives us 9. Minus, and then divide. And yeah, it's an ugly answer, but it's an answer. Now, before I do that though, I also need to say, maybe that's not the right answer, because remember, we have things called extraneous solutions. We have to go back and check ourselves. So we have to ask, what are we not allowed to divide by? We're not allowed to divide by 0. So I cannot have 1 over 0. I cannot have 6 over 0. I cannot have x plus 3 over 0. What will turn this group to 0? Having a 0. Is that 0? No, we're good. What will turn this group to 0? Multiplying by a 0. Is that a 0? No, we are okay. That's allowed to have their answer. We're good there. Let's move on. So I now have 3 completely different denominators, but I still want to set up the problem the same way. I'm going to group everything. I want to find a way to cancel out each one of these. So I know I have x's down here. That means I want to multiply by an x. I have the number 3 here. So that means I want to put a number 3 up here, so when I distribute, they would cancel out like what we did over here. But my problem is when I do a 3, it doesn't cancel with the 15. It doesn't cancel with the 5. Okay, what if I put a 5 there? Well, this 5 will cancel that. This 5 does not cancel with that or that. What if I now did a 15? If I said 15 divided by 3, that gives me 5. That fraction's gone. 15 over 15, they cancel. 15 over 5 gives me a 3. The fraction's gone. I like this. I'm looking for a combination of everything here to eventually cancel out. So let's now distribute. We're going to have 15x times 2 all over 3x equals 15x times 2 over 15 plus 15x times 12 over 5x. So we're multiplying just these top numbers. Now when we go to simplify, x's cancel. 3 and the 15 turns to a 5. 15 cancels. X are gone. 5 cancels with the 15 and that turns to a 3. Now let's simplify. We have 5 times 2 giving us 10 equals, we have 2 and an x, so 2x plus a 3 and a 12 giving us 36. Now get x alone, move 36, move the 2. So minus 36 giving us negative, where are we at? Negative 26 equals 2x. Divide x equals negative 14. Ask ourselves, what are we not allowed to divide by? We cannot divide by a 0. What will turn this to 0? Having a 0. What will turn this fraction to 0? Having a 0. Is that a 0? No, we're okay. And that is solving rational equations.